Sir Ahmed Salman Rushdie, O terahertz 00Q plus or minus 000. Born June 19, 1947, is an Indian-British novelist and essayist. His second novel, Midnight's Children, won the Booker Prize in 1981. Much of his fiction is set on the Indian subcontinent. He is said to combine magical realism with historical fiction. His work is concerned with the many connections, disruptions and migrations between East and West. His fourth novel, The Satanic Verses, was the center of a major controversy, provoking protests from Muslims in several countries. Death threats were made against him, including a fatwa issued by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran, on February 14, 1989. Rushdie was appointed Commander de l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres of France in January 1999. In June 2007, Queen Elizabeth II knighted him for his services to literature. In 2008, The Times ranked him 13th on its list of the 50 greatest British writers since 1945. Since 2000, Rushdie has lived in the United States, where he has worked at Emory University and was elected to the American Academy of Arts and Letters. In 2012, he published Joseph Anton, a memoir, an account of his life in the wake of the controversy over the Satanic Verses. Early life and family background: the son of Anis Ahmed Rushdie, a University of Cambridge-educated lawyer-turned-businessman, and Negin Bhatt, a teacher, Rushdie was born in Bombay, India, into a Muslim family of Kashmiri descent. Rushdie has three sisters. He wrote in his 2012 memoir that his father adopted the name Rushdie in honor of Averroes. He was educated at Cathedral and John Cnun School in Mumbai, Rugby School, and King's College, University of Cambridge, where he read history. Career: copywriter. Rushdie's first career was as a copywriter, working for the advertising agency Ogilvy and Mather, where he came up with Irresistible Bubble Ferrero and Naughty But Nice for cream cakes, and for the agency Air Barker, for whom he wrote the memorable line "That'll do nicely for American Express." It was while he was at Ogilvy that he wrote Midnight's Children, before becoming a full-time writer. John Hegarty of Bartle-Bogle Hegarty has criticized Rushdie for not referring to his copywriting past frequently enough, although conceding, he did write crap ads. Admittedly. Major literary work: his first novel, Grimace, a part science fiction tale, was generally ignored by the public and literary critics. His next novel, Midnight's Children, catapulted him to literary notability. This work won the 1981 Booker Prize and, in 1993 and 2008, was awarded the Best of the Bookers as the best novel to have received the prize during its first 25 and 40 years. Midnight's Children follows the life of a child, born at the stroke of midnight as India gained its independence, who is endowed with special powers and a connection to other children born at the dawn of a new and tumultuous age in the history of the Indian subcontinent and the birth of the modern nation of India. The character of sælʻmɑːn has been compared to Rushdie. However, the author has refuted the idea of having written any of his characters as autobiographical, stating, "People assume that because certain things in the character are drawn from your own experience, it just becomes you." In that sense, unregistered trademark they never felt that unregistered trademark they written an autobiographical character. After Midnight's Children, Rushdie wrote Shame, in which he depicts the political turmoil in Pakistan, basing his characters on Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and General Muhammad Zia-ul-Haq. Shame won France's Prix du Meilleur Livre à Permel-Tranger and was a close runner-up for the Booker Prize. Both these works of post-colonial literature are characterized by a style of magic realism and the immigrant outlook that Rushdie is very conscious of as a member of the Indian diaspora. Rushdie wrote a non-fiction book about Nicaragua in 1987 called The Jaguar Smile. This book has a political focus and is based on his first-hand experiences and research at the scene of Sandinista political experiments. His most controversial work, The Satanic Verses, was published in 1988. In addition to books, Rushdie has published many short stories, including those collected in East, West. The Moor's Last Sigh, a family epic ranging over some 100 years of India's history, was published in 1995. The Ground Beneath Her Feet presents an alternative history of modern rock music. The song of the same name by U2 is one of many song lyrics included in the book. Hence Rushdie is credited as the lyricist. He also wrote Haroun and the Sea of Stories in 1990. Rushdie has had a string of commercially successful and critically acclaimed novels. His 2005 novel Sælʻmɑːn the Clown received, in India, the prestigious Hutch Crossword Book Award, and was, in Britain, a finalist for the Whitbread Book Awards. It was shortlisted for the 2007 International IMPAC Dublin Literary Award. In his 2002 non-fiction collection Step Across This Line, he professes his admiration for the Italian writer Italo Calvino and the American writer Thomas Pynchon, among others. His early influences included Jorge Luis Borges, Mikhail Bulgakov, Lewis Carroll, Georgia 1/4 N.T.A. Grass, and James Joyce. Rushdie was a personal friend of Angela Carter's and praised her highly in the foreword for her collection Burning Your Boats. His novel Luca and the Fire of Life was published in November 2010. Earlier that year, he announced that he was writing his memoirs, entitled Joseph Anton, a Memoir, which was published in September 2012. In 2012, Salman Rushdie became one of the first major authors to embrace BookTrack, when he published his short story In the South on the platform. Other activities: Rushdie has quietly mentored younger Indian writers, influenced an entire generation of Indo-Anglian writers, and is an influential writer in post-colonial literature in general. He has received many plaudits for his writings, including the European Union's Aristeon Prize for Literature, the Premier Grinzan Cava, and the Writer of the Year award in Germany, and many of literature's highest honors. Rushdie was the president of PEN American Center from 2004 to 2006 and founder of the PEN World Voices Festival. He opposed the British government's introduction of the Racial and Religious Hatred Act, something he writes about in his contribution to Free Expression is No Offense, a collection of essays by several writers, published by Penguin in November 2005. In 2007 he began a 5-year term as Distinguished Writer-in-Residence at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, where he has also deposited his archives. In May 2008 he was elected a foreign honorary member of the American Academy of Arts and Letters. Though he enjoys writing, Salman Rushdie says that he would have become an actor if his writing career had not been successful. Even from early childhood, he dreamed of appearing in Hollywood movies. Rushdie includes fictional television and movie characters in some of his writings. He had a cameo appearance in the film Bridget Jones's Diary based on the book of the same name, which is itself full of literary in-jokes. On May 12, 2006, Rushdie was a guest host on The Charlie Rose Show, where he interviewed Indo-Canadian filmmaker Deepa Mehta, whose 2005 film, Water, faced violent protests. He appears in the role of Helen Hunt's obstetrician-gynecologist in the film adaptation of Eleanor Lipman's novel Then She Found Me. In September 2008, and again in March 2009, he appeared as a panelist on the HBO program Real Time with Bill Maher. Rushdie has said that he was approached for a cameo in Talladega Nights. They had this idea, just one shot in which 3 very, very unlikely people were seen as NASCAR drivers. And I think they approached Julian Schnabel, Lou Reed, and me. We were all supposed to be wearing the uniforms and the helmet, walking in slow motion with the heat haze. In the end their schedules didn't allow for it. Rushdie collaborated on the screenplay for the cinematic adaptation of his novel Midnight's Children with director Deepa Mehta. The film was also called Midnight's Children. Seema Biswas, Shabana Azmi, Nandita Das, and Irfan Khan participated in the film. Production began in September 2010. The film was released in 2012. Rushdie announced in June 2011 that he had written the first draft of a script for a new television series for the U.S. cable network Showtime, a project on which he will also serve as an executive producer. The new series, to be called The Next People, will be, according to Rushdie, a sort of paranoid science fiction series, people disappearing and being replaced by other people. The idea of a television series was suggested by his U.S. agents, said Rushdie, who felt that television would allow him more creative control than feature film. The Next People is being made by the British film production company Working Title. The firm behind such projects is 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Shaun of the Dead. Rushdie is a member of the advisory board of the Lunchbox Fund, a non-profit organization which provides daily meals to students of township schools in Soweto of South Africa. He is also a member of the advisory board of the Secular Coalition for America, an advocacy group representing the interests of atheistic and humanistic Americans in Washington, D.C. In November 2010 he became a founding patron of Ralston College, a new liberal arts college that has adopted as its motto a Latin translation of a phrase from an address he gave at Columbia University in 1991 to mark the 200th anniversary of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. He took on Facebook over the use of his name in 2011. He won. Rushdie had asked to use his middle name Salman, which he is most recognized by. He described his online identity crisis in a series of messages posted on Twitter, among them "Dear Facebook, forcing me to change my FB name from Salman to Ahmed Rushdie is like forcing J. Edgar to become John Hoover," and, or, if F. Scott Fitzgerald was on Facebook, would they force him to be Francis Fitzgerald? What about F. Murray Abraham? Messages such as these were then circulated online. Facebook eventually relented and allowed him to use the name by which he is universally known. The Satanic Verses and the Fatwa. The publication of the Satanic Verses in September 1988 caused immediate controversy in the Islamic world because of what was seen by some to be an irreverent depiction of the Prophet Muhammad. The title refers to a disputed Muslim tradition that is related in the book. According to this tradition, Muhammad added verses to the Quran accepting 3 goddesses who used to be worshipped in Mecca as divine beings. According to the legend, Muhammad later revoked the verses, saying the devil tempted him to utter these lines to appease the Meccans. However, the narrator reveals to the reader that these disputed verses were actually from the mouth of the archangel Jibril. The book was banned in many countries with large Muslim communities. On February 14, 1989, the day of the funeral of his close friend Bruce Chatwin, a fatwa requiring Rushdie's execution was proclaimed on Radio Tehran by Ayatollah Khomeini, the spiritual leader of Iran at the time, calling the book blasphemous against Islam. A bounty was offered for Rushdie's death, and he was thus forced to live under police protection for several years. On March 7, 1989, the United Kingdom and Iran broke diplomatic relations over the Rushdie controversy. The publication of the book and the fatwa sparked violence around the world, with bookstores firebombed. Muslim communities in several nations in the West held public rallies, burning copies of the book. Several people associated with translating or publishing the book were attacked, seriously injured, and even killed. Many more people died in riots in some countries. Despite the danger posed by the fatwa, Rushdie made a public appearance at London's Wembley Stadium on August 11, 1993 during a concert by U2. In 2010, U2 bassist Adam Clayton recalled that, lead vocalist Bono had been calling Salman Rushdie from the stage every night on the Zoo TV tour. When we played Wembley, Salman showed up in person and the stadium erupted. You could tell from drummer Larry Mullen, Jr.'s face that we weren't expecting it. Salman was a regular visitor after that. He had a backstage pass and he used it as often as possible. For a man who was supposed to be in hiding, it was remarkably easy to see him around the place. In reply, Rushdie published a statement that called the Prophet Muhammad one of the great geniuses of world history, but noted that Islamic doctrine holds Muhammad to be human, and in no way perfect. He held that the novel is not an anti-religious novel. It is, however, an attempt to write about migration, its stresses and transformations. On September 24, 1998, as a precondition to the restoration of diplomatic relations with Britain, the Iranian government, then headed by Mohammad Khatami, gave a public commitment that it would neither support nor hinder assassination operations on Rushdie. Hardliners in Iran have continued to reaffirm the death sentence. In early 2005, Khomeini's fatwa was reaffirmed by Iran's current spiritual leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in a message to Muslim pilgrims making the annual pilgrimage to Mecca. Additionally, the Revolutionary Guards declared that the death sentence on him is still valid. Iran rejected requests to withdraw the fatwa on the basis that only the person who issued it may withdraw it, and the person who issued it Ayatollah Khomeini has been dead since 1989. Rushdie has reported that he still receives a sort of Valentine's card from Iran each year on February 14 letting him know the country has not forgotten the vow to kill him. He said, "It's reached a point where it's a piece of rhetoric rather than a real threat." Despite the threats on Rushdie, he publicly said that his family had never been threatened and that his mother even received outpourings of support. A former bodyguard to Rushdie, Ron Evans, planned to publish a book recounting the behavior of the author during the time he was in hiding. Evans claimed that Rushdie tried to profit financially from the fatwa and was suicidal, but Rushdie dismissed the book as a bunch of lies, and took legal action against Evans, his co-author and their publisher. On August 26, 2008, Rushdie received an apology at the High Court in London from all three parties. A memoir of his years of hiding, Joseph Anton, was released on September 18, 2012. Joseph Anton was Rushdie's secret alias. In February 1997, Ayatollah Hassan Saini, leader of the Bonyad Panzdai Khordad, reported that the blood money offered by the Foundation for the assassination of Rushdie would be increased from $2 million to $2.5 million. Then a semi-official religious foundation in Iran increased the reward it had offered for the killing of Rushdie from $2.8 million to $3.3 million. Failed assassination attempt and Hezbollah's comments. On August 3, 1989, while Mustafa Mahmoud Mazi was priming a book bomb loaded with RDX explosive in a hotel in Paddington, central London, the bomb exploded prematurely, destroying 2 floors of the hotel and killing Mazi. A previously unknown Lebanese group, the Organization of the Mujahideen of Islam, said he died preparing an attack on the apostate Rushdie. There is a shrine in Tehran's Behesht-e-Zohar cemetery for Mustafa Mahmoud Mazi that says he was martyred in London, August 3, 1989. The first martyr to die on a mission to kill Salman Rushdie. Mazi's mother was invited to relocate to Iran, and the Islamic World Movement of Martyrs Commemoration built his shrine in the cemetery that holds thousands of Iranian soldiers slain in the Iran-Iraq War. During the 2006 Jans Posen Muhammad cartoons controversy, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah declared that if there had been a Muslim to carry out Imam Khomeini's fatwa against the renegade Salman Rushdie, this rabble who insult our Prophet Muhammad in Denmark, Norway and France would not have dared to do so. I am sure there are millions of Muslims who are ready to give their lives to defend our Prophet's honor and we have to be ready to do anything for that. James Phillips of the Heritage Foundation testified before the United States Congress that a March 1989, Sikh explosion in Britain was a Hezbollah attempt to assassinate Rushdie that failed when a bomb exploded prematurely, killing a Hezbollah terrorist in London. International Guerrillas. In 1990, soon after the publication of the Satanic Verses, a Pakistani film entitled International Guerrilla was released that depicted Rushdie as plotting to cause the downfall of Pakistan by opening a chain of casinos and discos in the country. The film was popular with Pakistani audiences, and it presents Rushdie as a Rambo-like figure pursued by 4 Pakistani guerrillas. The British Board of Film Classification refused to allow it a certificate, as it was felt that the portrayal of Rushdie might qualify as criminal libel, causing a breach of the peace as opposed to merely tarnishing his reputation. This effectively prevented the release of the film in Britain. 2 months later, however, Rushdie himself wrote to the board, saying that while he thought the film a distorted, incompetent piece of trash, he would not sue if it were released. He later said, "If that film had been banned, it would have become the hottest video in town, everyone would have seen it." While the film was a great hit in Pakistan, it went virtually unnoticed elsewhere. 2012 Jaipur Literature Festival events. Rushdie was due to appear at the Jaipur Literature Festival in January 2012. However, he later cancelled, and indeed cancelled his complete tour of India, citing a possible threat to his life as the primary reason. He investigated police reports that paid assassins had been hired to kill him and suggested the police might be lying. Meanwhile, the police, on the advice of officials, sought Rashid Joshi, Jeet Tyal, Hari Kunziu and Amitabh Kumar. They fled from Jaipur after reading excerpts from the Satanic Verses at the Jaipur Literature Festival. In India, the import of the book is banned via customs. However, reading from an existing copy of the book is not illegal. A proposed video link session between Rushdie and the Jaipur Literature Festival was cancelled at the last minute after the government pressured the festival to stop it. Rushdie returned to India to address a conference in Delhi on March 16, 2012. Knighthood. Rushdie was knighted for services to literature in the Queen's Birthday Honours on June 16, 2007. He remarked, "I am thrilled and humbled to receive this great honour, and am very grateful that my work has been recognised in this way." In response to his knighthood, many nations with Muslim majorities protested. Parliamentarians of several of these countries condemned the action, and Iran and Pakistan called in their British envoys to protest formally. Controversial condemnation issued by Pakistan's Religious Affairs Minister Muhammad Ijaz ul-Haq was in turn rebuffed by former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. Ironically, their respective fathers Zia-ul-Haq and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto had been earlier portrayed in Rushdie's novel Shame. Mass demonstrations against Rushdie's knighthood took place in Pakistan and Malaysia. Several called publicly for his death. Some non-Muslims expressed disappointment at Rushdie's knighthood, claiming that the writer did not merit such an honor and there were several other writers who deserved the knighthood more than Rushdie. Al-Qaeda condemned the Rushdie honor. The Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri is quoted as saying in an audio recording that Britain's award for Indian-born Rushdie was an insult to Islam, and it was planning a very precise response. Religious and political beliefs. Rushdie came from a liberal Muslim family, although he now identifies as an atheist. In 1990, in the hope that it would reduce the threat of Muslims acting on the fatwa to kill him, he issued a statement claiming he had renewed his Muslim faith, had repudiated the attacks on Islam made by characters in his novel and was committed to working for better understanding of the religion across the world. However, Rushdie later said that he was only pretending. The Iranian press has called Rushdie a self-confessed apostate, but he is better described as a lapsed Muslim, and he makes no bones about it. "I do not believe in supernatural entities," he has said, whether Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or Hindu. Though Rushdie is hardly alone in his views, what he stands for perturbs many Muslims. They take particular offense because he has renounced his ancestral country, language, and the Muslim way of life, adopting instead English, and secularism. His books often focus on the role of religion in society and conflicts between faiths and between the religious and those of no faith. Rushdie advocates the application of higher criticism, pioneered during the late 19th century. Rushdie called for a reform in Islam in a guest opinion piece printed in The Washington Post and The Times in mid-August 2005. What is needed is a move beyond tradition, nothing less than a reform movement to bring the core concepts of Islam into the modern age, a Muslim reformation to combat not only the jihadist ideologues but also the dusty, stifling seminaries of the traditionalists, throwing open the windows to let in much-needed fresh air. It is high time, for starters, that Muslims were able to study the revelation of their religion as an event inside history, not supernaturally above it. Broad-mindedness is related to tolerance. Open-mindedness is the sibling of peace. Rushdie is a critic of cultural relativism. He favors calling things by their true names and constantly argues about what is wrong and what is right. In an interview with Point of Inquiry in 2006 he described his view as follows. "We need all of us, whatever our background, to constantly examine the stories inside which and with which we live. We all live in stories, so-called grand narratives. Nation is a story. Family is a story. Religion is a story. Community is a story. We all live within and with these narratives. And it seems to me that a definition of any living vibrant society is that you constantly question those stories. That you constantly argue about the stories. In fact, the arguing never stops. The argument itself is freedom. €1 unregistered trademark s not that you come to a conclusion about it. And through that argument you change your mind so meti mesa €and theta €1 unregistered trademark s how societies grow. When you can't unregistered trademark retell for yourself the stories of your life, then you live in a prison. Somebody else controls the story. Now it seems to me that we have to say that a problem in contemporary Islam is the inability to re-examine the ground narrative of the religion. The fact that in Islam it is very difficult to do this, makes it difficult to think new thoughts. Political background: in the 1980s in Britain, he was a supporter of the Labour Party and championed measures to end racial discrimination and alienation of immigrant youth and racial minorities. Rushdie supported the 1999 NATO bombing of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, leading the leftist Tariq Ali to label Rushdie and other warrior writers as the belligerati. He was supportive of the US-led campaign to remove the Taliban in Afghanistan, which began in 2001, but was a vocal critic of the 2003 war in Iraq. He has stated that while there was a case to be made for the removal of Saddam Hussein, U.S. unilateral military intervention was unjustifiable. In the wake of the Jlan's Posen Muhammad cartoons controversy in March 2006, which many considered an echo of the death threats and fatwa that followed publication of the Satanic Verses in 1989, Rushdie signed the manifesto Together Facing the New Totalitarianism, a statement warning of the dangers of religious extremism. The manifesto was published in the left-leaning French weekly Charlie Hebdo in March 2006. In 2006, Rushdie stated that he supported comments by the then leader of the House of Commons Jack Straw, who criticized the wearing of the niqab. Rushdie stated that his three sisters would never wear the veil. He said, "I think the battle against the veil has been a long and continuing battle against the limitation of women, so in that sense I'm completely on Straw's side." Critic Terry Eagleton, a former admirer of Rushdie's work, attacked him for his positions, saying he cheered on the Pentagon's criminal ventures in Iraq and Afghanistan. Eagleton subsequently apologized for having misrepresented Rushdie's views. At an appearance at 92nd Street Y, Rushdie expressed his view on copyright when answering a question whether he had considered copyright law a barrier to free speech. "No. But that's because I write for a living, laughs, and I have no other source of income, and I novelly believe that stuff that I create belongs to me, and that if you want it you might have to give me some cash. My view is I do this for a living. The thing wouldn't exist if I didn't make it, and so it belongs to me, and don't steal it. You know. It's my stuff." When Amnesty International suspended human rights activist Geeta Sahgal for saying to the press that she thought AI should distance itself from Mozambique and his organization, Rushdie said, "Amnesty has done its reputation incalculable damage by allying itself with Mozambique and his group Kaja prisoners, and holding them up as human rights advocates. It looks very much as if Amnesty's leadership is suffering from a kind of moral bankruptcy, and has lost the ability to distinguish right from wrong. It has greatly compounded its error by suspending the redoubtable Geeta Sahgal for the crime of going public with her concerns. Geeta Sahgal is a woman of immense integrity and distinction. It is people like Geeta Sahgal who are the true voices of the human rights movement. Amnesty and BEG have revealed, by their statements and actions, that they deserve our contempt." Rushdie supported the election of Democrat Barack Obama for the U.S. presidency and has often criticized the Republican Party. In Indian politics, Rushdie has criticized the Bharatiya Janata Party and its Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Rushdie is a supporter of gun control, blaming a shooting at a Colorado cinema in July 2012 on the American right to keep and bear arms. Personal life: Rushdie has been married 4 times. He was married to his first wife Clarissa Lord from 1976 to 1987 and fathered a son, Zafar. He left her in the mid-80s for the Australian writer Robin Davidson, to whom he was introduced by their mutual friend Bruce Chatwin. His second wife was the American novelist Marianne Wiggins. They were married in 1988 and divorced in 1993. His third wife, from 1997 to 2004, was Elizabeth West. They have a son, Milan. In 2004, he married the Indian-American Padma Lakshmi, an actress, model, and host of the American reality television show Top Chef. The marriage ended on July 2, 2007, with Lakshmi's indicating it was her desire to end it. In 2008, The Bollywood press romantically linked him to his friend, Indian model Rhea Senator. In response to the media speculation about their relationship, she simply stated, "I think when you are Salman Rushdie, you must get bored with people who always want to talk to you about literature." In 1999, Rushdie had an operation to correct ptosis, a tendon condition that causes drooping eyelids and that, according to him, was making it increasingly difficult for him to open his eyes. "If I hadn't had an operation, in a couple of years from now I wouldn't have been able to open my eyes at all," he said. Since 2000, Rushdie has lived mostly near Union Square in New York City. Bibliography, novels, Grimace, Midnight's Children, Shame, The Satanic Verses, The Moor's Last Sigh, The Ground Beneath Her Feet, Fury, Shalimar the Clown, The Enchantress of Florence, Collections, Homeless by Choice, East, West, The Best American Short Stories, Children's Books, Haroun and the Sea of Stories, Luca and the Fire of Life, Essays in Non-Fiction, The Jaguar Smile, A Nicaraguan Journey, In Good Faith, Granta, 1990, Imaginary Homelands, Essays and Criticism, 1981 Euro 1991, The Wizard of Oz, BFI Film Classics, BFI, 1992. Mohandas Gandhi. Time, April 13, 1998. Imagine There Is No Heaven. Extracted contribution from Letters to the 6 Billionth World Citizen, a UN-sponsored publication in English by Witjeverage Podium, Amsterdam. The Guardian, October 16, 1999. Step Across This Line, Collected Non-Fiction 1992 Euro 2002, A Fine Pickle. The Guardian, February 28, 2009. In the South. Booktrack, February 7, 2012, Joseph Anton, A Memoir, Awards, Aristeon Prize, Arts Council Writers Award, Author of the Year, Booker Prize for Fiction, Booker of Bookers for the Best Novel among the Booker Prize winners for fiction awarded at its 25th anniversary, the Best of the Booker awarded to commemorate the Booker Prize's 40th anniversary, winner by public vote, Commander de l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres, English Speaking Union Award, Golden Pen Award, Hans Christian Andersen Literature Award, Honorary Patron, University Philosophical Society, Trinity College, Dublin. Hut Crossword Book Award, India Abroad Lifetime Achievement Award, James Tayert Black Memorial Prize, Kurt Tucholsky Prize, Mantua Prize, James Joyce Award Euro University College Dublin, Massachusetts Institute of Technology Honorary Professorship, Chapman University Honorary Doctorate Euro Doctor of Humane Letters, Outstanding Lifetime Achievement in Cultural Humanism, Penn Pinter Prize, Premier Grinzan Cava, Prix Colette, Prix du Mille Livre Permel Tranger, St. Louis Literary Award Euro St. Louis University, State Prize for Literature, Whitbread Novel Award, Writers Guild of Great Britain Award for Children's Fiction, University of Liège Doctor Honoris Causa, see also, Criticism of Islam, Biltken, British Literary Conservatives, Censorship in South Asia, International Pen, List of Fatwas, The Butterfly Hunter, Notes, see Hitoshi Igarashi, Ettore Caprolo, William Nygaard, References. External links, Salman Rushdie official website, appearances on C-SPAN, in-depth interview with Rushdie, December 5, 2010. Salman Rushdie at the Internet Movie Database, article archive at Journalisted, works by or about Salman Rushdie in libraries, Salman Rushdie collected news and commentary at Al Jazeera English, Salman Rushdie collected news and commentary at Dawn, Salman Rushdie collected news and commentary at The Guardian, Salman Rushdie collected news and commentary at The New York Times, Contemporary Writers, Salman Rushdie. British Council, Arts, Jack Livings. Salman Rushdie, The Art of Fiction No. 186. The Paris Reviewer, New York Times special feature on Rushdie, 1999, Chateau Baba Rushdie should be fair before he blames Hindus,